All right. Here we go. The first show of the Brown Excellence. Look at my Brown brothers here. Oh my God, this is fantastic. This is amazing to see. Off the back of a big victory, which honestly I did not expect that type of a victory. So coming off the back of that and then getting this, show, this new segment started. Oh man, this is fantastic. So without further ado, let's get this started. But before we get into it, I want to quickly say a quick hello to each and one of you guys, and give your sort of hello to the viewers that are going to watch this down the track. So firstly, Kamal, thank you so much, man. It was your comment that triggered this particular segment. So how are you, my man?
Wow, great, man. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for even considering me to be part of your show. It's an epic moment. And yeah, like I said, I watched your episode last week, and I've got massive respect to Vivek and Shyam and Adnan. So just to see, Brown excellence is what we're here for, man. So let's get this done.
Brilliant. Shyam, my man, and Vivek as well. But I'll go with Shyam first. I know it's early for you guys. Thank you so much for joining. How you doing, Shyam? Shyam, can you hear me? Shyam, I don't think you can hear me, Shyam. I'll go to Vivek first. Vivek, can you hear me?
Hey, miss. Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning to you as well. How's things going, Vivek?
Yeah, all great, mate. All great. It's going good. I might have to call in a little late for work, but yeah.
Absolutely. While Shyam gets his audio sorted, I think something happened to his audio. Let's get this ball rolling. So first of all, what I want to talk about is, guys, of course we had a fantastic win, but let's talk about Frank's bold lineup and the many changes that he's made. First, I'll go to you, Kamal. Did you expect that many changes from Frank Lampard? I mean, we did talk about rotation and whatnot, but to have that many changes, how did you feel when you saw the lineup?
To be honest, when I saw that, I was kind of amused. I knew we're going to rotate, but not to that extent. Changing the entire back four, I was like, okay, maybe he's expecting Rudiger only, like was done in the past. But the entire back four was kind of surprising. I was expecting the Kovacic, Jorginho pivot, and the midfield up I was fine with, but everything below that I was kind of not expecting, not happy, if I'm honest with you. I was kind of scared at the time. I even tweeted that, in my opinion, finishing top is huge for the Champions League. So I was scared we were going to concede. I was scared it was going to be a tough game, and I was proven wrong. So I have no complaints in the long term.
No, brilliant, man. You know what? I wasn't overly upset. I was definitely surprised to see that many changes. The only thing that I was probably a little bit worried was the Rudiger and Andres Christensen sort of combination at the back. That sort of worried me. That not having Thiago Silva and Zuma, I was a bit weary of that. But besides that, kind of expected that maybe Jorginho would play, and up front, all the different changes, kind of sort of thought that would happen as well. But yeah, that the whole surprise of the result was unbelievable. Vivek, now going to you, my man, what was your thoughts looking at that lineup? How did you feel? Were you thinking, you know what, I can completely understand with all the rotation that needs to happen with all the games that we're playing in December, or were you sort of thinking the same line of with Kamal that this is an important match, but that's a lot of changes? How did you feel?
No, to be honest, miss, I was expecting 10 changes off the bat. This was the lineup which I predicted. I was thinking maybe Alonso would start ahead of Emerson, and beyond that, this was pretty much the same lineup which I had in mind, and I was not surprised one bit because Sevilla also had rotated. They were pretty much playing their B team because they have a big match versus Real Madrid in Sunday. And Lopetegui's system is very demanding, and you guys must have seen how demanding the system is, where his men keep the pressure up and they keep tracking the ball. all throughout the 90. So I was expecting heavy rotation from Sevilla too. And to be honest, Miz, I was not expecting a clean sheet yesterday, especially seeing Rudiger and Christensen. I was not expecting a clean sheet, but I was proven wrong. The Great Wall of Senegal still stands, I guess.
Now, truly. I mean, I did a match preview with Dami yesterday, and he actually predicted a 2-0. So he won. He thought we were going to be good enough to get a clean sheet, but that was off the back of thinking we're going to have Zuma and Thiago Silva. So that's probably why we sort of said that. I thought that, knowing that this was a particular match that Sevilla was going to try and win as well, that we may concede, but wow. Now, let's talk about this particular win before we get into the whole Olivier Giroud's performance, which was unbelievable. I think all of us, we need to realize how massive this victory was. This was a statement victory. This wasn't just going out there and getting a 1-0 and sitting. This is going to Sevilla at Spain, away from home, with all that rotation that took place. And we simply thumped them. Like, once again, I'll go to you, Kamal. Like, did you, after the match finished, did you sort of think, wow, definitely did not expect this? And did you have a feeling after that thinking this team could go quite far, not just Premier League, but also Champions League?
100%. I'm kind of arrogant as a fan. I'm kind of obnoxious as a fan. I don't know if you noticed in my timeline. When we win, I get big-headed, and I automatically think that we're going to be contenders for the Champions League, just based on the depth. You know, like you said, I had no expectations of this at all. 4-0 away at Sevilla. I mean, no, there was no. I knew Vivek, like Vivek said, we were going to rotate. Sevilla were going to rotate, but not to that extent either. And I didn't expect it to be that easy. You know, we dominated the entire game. They had a few chances here and there, but nothing clear cut. Nothing, you know, where you could say, okay, they should have scored that. Nothing to that at all. So we dominated the game from the full 90 minutes. And yeah, 4-0 again is a scoreline which I didn't expect from that lineup specifically. I was almost for sure that we were going to concede at some point, but we didn't. And yeah, we can go far. This squad depth is, I can't think of the last time we had a squad this deep all around since maybe 2010 perhaps. But this squad has so much potential. It's crazy.
No, well said, man. I mean, even with all that rotation, you could see the talent that was still oozing in the team was phenomenal. Now, Vivek, were you sort of thinking this is a match where Frank could go in and definitely try and secure the top spot in the UCL? Or did you sort of have a feeling that, you know what, we could get away with a draw and then we still have Krasnodar and, no disrespect to Krasnodar, we should put them away, and that would be an easy route to get into top spot. But Frank did not look at it that way. Frank, he wanted to go in and destroy Sevilla and just clean it up so that, the match against Krasnodar really is now a nil tie for us. But how was your feeling thinking, we're definitely going to come out of this particular match and we're going to be top of our group, or did you have some other thoughts?
I was personally expecting a 2-1 victory, just like how we pulled it off versus Raw last week, Miss. What surprised me was how good our rotated squad played yesterday. It was very surprising, and everybody. I can't pick out and say X individual or Y individual didn't do well. Everybody played. No question. Nothing to comment on how people played, how the players played yesterday. My concern was that Sevilla were a very physical team, and it was quite evident yesterday. They were very physical. They were running Havertz to the ground, and they did take in a lot of fouls. So I was very worried about the injuries, and I was just praying that nobody gets injured in the trip away. Anybody, be it our first teamers or rotation, and this is why this win is so significant, because Sevilla are a very frustrating team to play against, and we just went there and came back with a 4-0 result. It felt like a home game as of sorts, and there were certain phases in the game where we were just playing as if it is, in the training
Yeah.
pitch. We were playing out from the back, and Sevilla were just running around. They had nothing to do, and towards the end of the game, they just gave up. And I think that is where we scored most of our goals, because in the first half the intensity was very high, and after Giroud scored in the first half, in the second half they were trying for a good 10-15 minutes. They were trying on it, and once Giroud scored the second goal, they pretty much gave up. They didn't.
Did you also feel that we could perhaps go a few gears more? I felt like we had so much more that if we wanted to increase the intensity, we could have gone even higher. Like, that was the scary part for me. Is that how you felt as well?
Yeah. I personally felt that too. Pulisic was a bit rusty yesterday. He played well, but he was a bit rusty. Understandable. And I think he missed, I believe he missed 2 clear-cut chances over there. And nothing to blame the American, because he's coming off a very turbulent time in his season, after a hamstring injury, after more injuries. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for yesterday's game. But I felt the score line could have been a lot more if Pulisic was, in his lethal best yesterday.
Absolutely agreed, man. I mean, throughout the match, I was just so shocked, to be honest, at how easy we were kind of going into the match, and we were just easily scoring, no pressure. Everything was, I was just so awestruck, to be honest, against the team away from home against Sevilla. I was like, what's going on? Even Jorginho was playing really well in that regista position. And, I don't think he was once at all disturbed in that whole match. So that was great. Now, let's talk about the 4 goals. One of the things that I really want to do in this segment down the track, the more we sort of have these shows on a weekly basis, is we want to do a lot more analysis discussions and get into the nitty-gritty of the different players and looking into their skill set. So today, obviously, undoubtedly, it's going to be Olivier Giroud with the 4 goals that he scored. So I want to firstly go to you, Kamal. The first goal, I believe it was a brilliant build-up. There's a clip that's going around in football Twitter at the moment where the build-up starts from the back. We will talk about Rudi as well. His passing has been really very good in that particular match. And it was a great build-up, which then Jorginho puts it through, breaks the line, puts it through to Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz drives in. And the movement from Giroud, and this is where I want you to comment on where the difference between him and Tammy Abraham in terms of the movement that they do, right? And I don't want this to be a slander. This is not a slander. This is not having a go at Tammy Abraham, but this is more about Tammy learning from an experienced player like Giroud. So that first goal, Kai Havertz slides a nice, intricate pass through for the assist, and Giroud, stays in between the 2 defenders, sort of takes a step back and then smashes it with his left. How did you feel about that technique, and what were your thoughts at that moment, looking at that goal, thinking, wow, that's Olivier Giroud for you?
Yeah, I think it comes down to one word, and that word is experience. He clearly just, in his mindset, he's clearly like one step ahead. That's how I felt. This game, he was just one step ahead of everything. He knew what was going to happen before it happened. So he knew, if I go to, you kind of drift off to the right a bit, have that open space for Havertz to drive forward, then he's occupying those defenders as well, taking away that space, being a little bit of a decoy at the same time. And then when the ball comes in, knocks it back onto his left with his stronger favored foot and slots it in. But he's got that kind of mentality that he knows exactly where the ball's going to go. That's how I felt. The chemistry between these guys, even though a lot of them hadn't even played together, was, for me, what was probably the biggest thing in this entire game, from the back lines all the way forward. I don't think Christensen and Rudiger played together this entire season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think they have. I don't think they've played. Yeah.
Right, and then Azpi's been in and out. Emerson's bit part feature as well. Havertz has been, with his either injured or with COVID-19. And so Pulisic out, the whole chemistry was just seamless. Like you mentioned earlier, it was just, you couldn't believe how well they were playing. The chemistry was just unreal. But to touch on Giroud, which was the original question, it was, to me anyway, it seemed like he was just one step ahead. Experience, he knew what was going to happen. He knew how to draw the defenders away. He knew where to run, where to wait. Just the weight of the pass as well was perfect as well. We can't deny that. So Havertz was great. But yeah, it seems like he was, in my opinion, at least one step ahead of everyone on the pitch today, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely well said, Vivek. In regards to the second goal, where Kovacic puts a nice ball through. So we saw the first goal where it was a left foot finish. This one, he sort of drifts to the right and then waits a little bit, then chips it over the keeper. Once again, this man's technique is in a different level. Like, everything feels like it's in slow motion for this particular player. Like, Sevilla is not, let's not kid around ourselves. They're not a poor team. They're a very good team. So how did you find the technique for that second goal, how he just drifts to the right and then just waits for the moment to dink over the keeper?
It was his weaker foot finish as well. Giroud was a left-footed striker. It was a weak foot finish, and that was world-class. It was a world-class finish, and Kovacic played him through at the perfect time. And all Giroud had to do was wait for the keeper to come and make himself big, and he had an open post to himself. It was a world-class goal. I enjoyed the second goal more than the first and the third one. The third one was a typical Giroud header. The first one was his usual left foot finisher, but the second one with his weaker foot, that was very, very tough. And like Kamal said, that is the hallmark of a very experienced and a very lethal striker. And that's what puts him, I would personally say, a tier above Tammy Abraham right now. No offense to Tammy. He's been doing well, and I love Tammy Abraham. But yeah, he lacks the experience, which probably Giroud brings. And one thing I'd say goes into Tammy Abraham's favor is he's a little bit quicker than Giroud, and he also does get into those phases miss. We noticed in the Spurs game how easily he was able to get into the spaces between Dyer and the other centre back. The only problem was he was not able to put it through, and this is where Giroud, becomes a much better striker. He only had 4 shots on target yesterday, and all 4 were goals.
Unbelievable. But yeah, no, absolutely right, man. Everything that he touched was phenomenal, and all that elegance that he has. Kamal, I want to really talk about this third goal, because I know Vivek has said that second goal was a very good goal, which undoubtedly off the weaker foot and the timing and the experience. But this third goal is something I really want to talk to you about, Kamal. This is where I feel Tammy misses out the headers, right?
Yep.
And if you guys can recall, first of all, kudos to Kante. What a fantastic cross. Like, I never expected that from him. But
yeah, exactly.
Good on Kante for being able to do that. But it's the movement. It's that diagonal run that Giroud makes, that he sort of dissects the defense, right?
Right.
And gives himself, and as you said initially, he's always a step in front. Like, his thinking is a step in front. This is where I feel Tammy misses out on so many goals, so many juicy crosses that comes in from Reece James, where he should be knocking it back. He's always centimeters away.
Right.
What did you see from that point of Giroud's technique on that third goal that you probably, we could probably pass on to Tammy Abraham? What did you see that could benefit Tammy?
Personally, I think Tammy goes too fast. I think he's trying to get into the position quicker than he has to be. So with a cross like that, it's all about trajectory, obviously. And it's all about kind of trigonometry and all the schematics of trying to get the ball in. And you're kind of seeing the pathways and stuff like that. So again, it's partly experience, because he's seen every single ball in the world at this point. He's 34, 33 years old. So playing for top teams, playing for international teams as well. So he knows how the ball is going to be coming in, where the defenders are going to be most of the time positioning themselves. Whereas if you look at Tammy, it seems that he's running into the box and waiting. So he runs in, waits, and waits for the balls to come. Whereas Giroud kind of like starts at the edge of the box, sees the ball coming out wide, and then runs into it and gets a little bit of momentum. Whereas it's kind of like if you're comparing zonal versus man marking in corner.
So are you sort of saying it's Giroud's more of a later run, like he sees the drift and he comes in late to smash it in, whereas Tammy,
100%.
as you said, is too early.
But yeah, that's how I see it. Specifically, if we're looking at the Spurs game, all the crosses that came in, Tammy's already got his feet planted and then he's jumping. So he doesn't really have that momentum. That's how I see it anyway. It doesn't have that momentum to kind of run and jump and get a higher leap. Whereas Giroud, you can see, even at his age, he's got that ridiculous leap. We saw it against Rennes last week. Yeah. How did he get that power in that header? It's just it's mind-boggling how he got the power into it. And you know, if that's one thing that Giroud could probably teach to Tammy, is be a little bit more patient. Don't run into the box and get your feet planted. Just wait a little bit, wait for the ball to come in, dart in, use your momentum and your body and your size to kind of, you know, jump up and get ahead of the defender that's already there.
Yeah, no, well said, man. Well said. Vivek, I want to just explore this a little bit further because I feel Tammy has missed out on a lot of this last season as well. And now we're seeing this season again, he's missing out on these opportunities. Many pundits and many experts in the game have been saying that, you know, similar thing what Kamal was saying, like his movement, he's not running into it, like as opposed to he's just still there. If he's running into it, he has the ability to trump the defender. So, you know, what does someone like Tammy do? I mean, he's got that experienced player of Giroud in the team. I mean, what do you suggest someone like Tammy does in this situation?
Work on the pitch, miss. Work on the training pitch. This is all I can personally say because Tammy Abraham's movement is, I personally feel it's very underrated and it's what gets him a lot of goals. But at the same time, his movement is his worst enemy too. Like Kamal said, he's either too early or too late. I believe even it was in the Newcastle match, Werner squared one to him into the far post and Tammy was late. He was late. And the other day was Tottenham, the header. He was a little early and the ball just deflected off his head. That would have been an excellent goal. I believe it was in the 50th minute, I guess. Another Reece James cross. And this is the difference between Giroud and Tammy Abraham. If Giroud was on the end of the cross, it's definitely a goal. And Tammy needs to work a lot, on his movement and off the ball movements on the pitch, in the training pitch, miss. This is the only thing I can personally say because it is not enough and he's not showing enough. And Frank has also mentioned that a lot of these, squad players, they are knocking on the door of the first team and you never know. Werner came on for Giroud and he played the centre forward position yesterday. You never know because Frank wants results. And if he sees that Tammy is not doing well in games, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't bench him or he wouldn't leave him out of the squad. So it's crunch time for Tammy Abraham because he needs to start performing this. It's not enough, personally, because this is a striker I personally feel is capable of getting 15 to 20 goals a season. And personally for me, he's not doing it.
No, that's absolutely right, man. I mean, the competition is intense at the moment. Timo Werner, Tammy Abraham, and Giroud is put an absolute statement out there for these two players that if you are sleeping the way they have been in recent times, this guy is going to come in and eat everything up. So, you know, obviously the fourth goal, so he ended up getting, 4 for the match, perfect hat trick, gets himself a penalty as well, which was once again great movement into the box. How he just drifts into the box just in front of the defender. Defender really had nothing. Yeah. He can't do anything else but to clip him, and he ends up getting that penalty. Scores the penalty, which is fantastic. So, quick question, just a quick fire question to both of you guys. Firstly, come on, does Giroud start now against Leeds?
Oh gosh, I know you said quick fire, but I don't think so just yet. I still think for some reason it's still going to be Tammy and Werner. Because besides the Spurs game, I think it has worked pretty well as of late. I think the Spurs game was kind of an anomaly for me. So I do think it's still going to be Tammy and Werner because Pulisic clearly isn't 100% yet. So yeah, it'll most likely be that with Ziyech on the right.
Fair enough, Vivek. That's pretty harsh, man. What Kamal said, 4 goals and then not starting. How do you feel, man, against Leeds? Is he going to start?
I'm not sure, Miss. I think it will be Tammy. I expect Tammy to start with Werner on his left and Ziyech on his right. Yes, it is harsh, but we have to remember that we have lots of games coming through, Miss. And the last thing I really want is any one of our strikers or our forwards getting injured. It will just ruin the momentum which we're building right now. So rotation is quite important, and yeah, nothing to discredit Tammy. He's been phenomenal this season. Only small kinks. He only has a few small kinks to work out in his game. And I was even reading the comment section of a chat saying that this is only his second competitive season, like his second season at Chelsea. And he is young. I'll give him the credit, miss. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll give him the credit as well for taking up the challenge and doing it. But yeah, it is crunch time, and he has to step up. If he does not step up, in the next few games, I think Frank will definitely go to Giroud or to Werner in the CF position. This is also owing to the fact that probably Pulisic, I don't know if he'll start 90, but he's also knocking on the door. So you have all this competition for the front 3 spots. So we never know, miss. But to answer your question one more time, I don't think Giroud will start versus Leeds.
Man, these boys are harsh, man. 4 goals and he still can't start against Leeds. What's Giroud got to do, man? But I completely understand your point. I think it makes sense what you guys are saying. Personally, I wouldn't mind him start against Leeds, but then again, you'd probably want Timo Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech, the whole firepower to start, and then Giroud perhaps against Krasnodar, the match after, and get some minutes there, of course, but. What a fantastic player to have in the bench when you want to call and bang in 4 goals, which is brilliant. So, guys, let's now move on to the next part. We've talked about Oliver Giroud, analysed his movements. Hopefully, people got a lot out of it. Guys, attacking eights. Attacking eights got a lot of assists today, guys. I'm not sure if you guys know. Kovacic got an assist, Kante got an assist, Kai Havertz got an assist. So 3 assists from the attacking eights players. Once again, I'll go to Kamal first. Are you starting to like this? Obviously, last season we had a lot of concerns about these attacking eights that we have. They don't seem to produce enough assists, enough goals.
Right.
This season, they're really chipping in with the production. I mean, how are you feeling at the moment?
I think so. To begin, I was kind of the beginning of the season. I was kind of a proponent for the 4-2-3-1. I just kind of felt, based on personnel, that was the best way we could fit everyone in together. But now looking at it on the grand scheme of things, attacking eights is definitely the way to go. I think last season we were kind of hindering ourselves with lack of finishing ability. We missed, I think, if the stats correct me, I think we were second or third in chances created for the whole season. But we were way down in the table for goals scored. So now we've got the people to put the ball in the net. So I don't think we've always created chances under Frank Lampard. There's been no doubt about that. And now that you've got Mason Mount who can do the dirty work as well as provide some attacking threat, and then you've got Kai Havertz who's predominantly an attacking player. I mean, Kovacic is one of the best at linking the defense with the attack. It's just so perfect right now. Everything is it's so perfect. I think expected goals said we have the most expected points in the league. Everything is just clicking. This is finally what Frank Lampard wanted. He's got the players he wants, the system he's finally got down packed. Because last season, I'll hold my hands up. I was like, what is Frank Lampard's system? I couldn't figure it out. We were chopping, changing players as well as formations consistently. Now we finally has a system that he's like, okay, this is how I want us to play. And we're reaping the benefits right now. It's fun to watch.
Nah, true, man. True talk. I really like what you said, that the chances were somewhat being made last season as well. It just wasn't converted. I guess this season we're now starting to see the conversion, and that's why it sort of makes it look like, these players are actually capable of assisting, whereas they were always capable of assisting. It's just we never finished it, which is a fantastic point, actually. Vivek, let's talk about Rudiger and Andres Christensen here, because let's face it, all 3 of us here, unfortunately, Shyam was meant to join us, but he had some technical problems. I'm pretty sure Shyam would have had the same feeling as well. all three of us can agree when we saw that lineup with Rudiger and Anders Christensen. As much as Rudiger has been great so far this season with all the little chances that he's been getting, we had our hearts in our mouths. You know that when we saw that. But
yeah, absolutely.
4-0 away from home, clean sheet. They looked solid. I think we need to praise many people here. Frank Lampard and Anthony Barry, and obviously Mendy and Thiago Silva. Like, how do you sum this up? What has changed since last season to this season, in your opinion, where even the fringe players are coming in and getting clean sheets?
Competition is as simple as that. The Euros are coming up. Players want to do well. They want to get into their national teams. Christensen plays for Denmark and Rudiger plays for Germany, and I highly doubt they don't want to be there as fringe players, and they want to impress Frank Lampard. And the competition has gone up by a notch too, with Thiago Silva coming in, and Thiago Silva looks so comfortable in the role, and Zuma is pretty much the starting centre back with Thiago Silva. This has left Tomori on the bench. I personally don't know. I personally don't know what Tomori's situation is, but I wouldn't advocate for any change.
I think he has to go, right, Vivek? He has to probably go now.
Yeah, I think he's linked with the loan move in January, and I'm sure that he'll be going on a very long loan. But my process with team building is simple. My philosophy is very simple. Why fix when something is not broken? What do you need to fix in this? You don't. Your defense is good. Your keeper is good. Your backup fullbacks are doing well. Heck, even Emerson had a very good game. And Rudiger, even though he had that one moment in the 82nd minute, I think, where he
right at the
ball.
end. Yeah. But that was a tricky pass from Mendy as well. Like, it was a bit,
that was a very tricky pass. Yeah. And Sevilla were also pushing. They were pushing very hard for at least a consolation goal, and Rudiger gave it away. But that was just one out of probably say the entire match, and Rudiger has become a lot better these days. Especially in the games where he started, he has not put a foot wrong. Christensen yesterday did not put a foot wrong either. He was playing the ball well. He was pinging balls to the eights. And he did cover up spaces quite well. And to be honest with all two of you over here, that we were not expecting a clean sheet. Nobody did. Nobody did. Yeah. And see, this is what happens when you have a keeper whom the backline can trust, and this is what happens when you train defensive set pieces and defensive situations in the pitch. This is what we were missing last year, and this is what we've gained this year, and it's quite evident to see the rewards we're reaping right now. So I don't have any issues with the defense right now, especially after yesterday, seeing how our reserve backline managed to keep a clean sheet. I'm like, okay, fine. I leave everything to Frank Lampard. Nothing much from my side.
Nice, man. Nice. Kamal, Vivek kind of touched a little bit about Emerson here, and I want to touch a little bit about that as well. I was a bit skeptic, thinking without Chilwell, I just don't feel too confident with either Emerson and Alonso. And he had a pretty decent game, Emerson, as well. Helped out in attack whenever he had the opportunity, was quite solid in defense, kept it compact. You think this player is still going, or there could be a slight hope that he could be the Chelsea number 2 left back, perhaps?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Alonso, besides West Brom, hasn't been in any matchday squads.
He's done. I think he's finished.
Exactly. So. And I think Frank Lampard definitely wants 2 natural left-sided, left-footed left backs. So if I'm not mistaken, again, I think Emerson's been in most benches, just as cover. So I definitely think Frank Lampard sees him as a number 2, no doubt about it, because he's played quite a decent amount for a backup player anyway. And like you said, he was insane. He was pretty good for what we think Emerson is capable of. So he was good. He was good today for me. I mean, you guys keep saying yesterday, it's throwing me off. But he was good today. And I wasn't expecting it. Like Vivek said, I think it's just competition, man. It's like all of these guys are playing for spots in Euros. They're playing for contracts. They're playing for so much is on the line. Specifically, Rudiger and Christensen. To touch on them really quick, I think they've got a year and a half or 2 years left on their deals. So
Yeah.
they want to stay. They need to perform. And like Emerson too, he starts for Italy if I'm not mistaken.
He does.
He plays quite. So he needs to perform if he wants to perform and get into the team. He needs to play well, and just like the rest of these guys. So Emerson was fantastic today, and it's hopefully something he can keep up, so he can actually push Chilwell as well. So Chilwell isn't sleeping on his morals and saying, "Oh, I've got this position down packed." So competition throughout the squad, everyone pushes each other. This is what I've wanted. This is what all Chelsea fans have wanted for a long time. No more drink waters and bakayokos where the first team player can just relax and know that the player behind them is not pushing them at all. So this is fantastic.
True, man. And this is spot on, because Chilwell could get into that mindset that I don't really have a backup, so I'm the guy here. So now that he will see that performance against of Emerson, he'd be like, wait a minute, I need to be on my toes here, because this guy, he's eager to take my position. So and I like that. I like that from Emerson. I really do. And I hope he continues like that. And I'm pretty sure Frank would be very satisfied with that performance as well, thinking, wait a minute, I've got a bit of competition going on in the left back position, which I kind of didn't think there was. So this is great. And let's be honest, Ben Chilwell has the injury concerns as well. So it's good to have someone who can put on performance like this against Sevilla, who can come on and do that. But I think for Alonso's sake, I think it's over. I don't think Frank wants to do anything with Alonso. Now, quickly in regards to Jorginho, Vivek, I know we've kind of touched on him on this particular match, but every match that Jorginho plays in that sort of lone DM, when he plays Regista, I suppose, we've seen he's been dominated by the opposition with counterattacks. He gets spun around, he gets left behind. But I feel we've got such a great defensive structure now that he doesn't get caught out anymore, because the defense moves together, the midfields move together, the attacking aids, everything is in sync, which now kind of helps Jorginho out as well. Is that how you felt when you saw the match today, or did you have a feeling, oh my God, Jorginho starting, Sevilla's going to run right in the midfield?
I was personally expecting a 4-2-3-1 miss. When I saw Jorginho, Kovacic, and Havertz, I was expecting a 4-2-3-1, but I was very surprised to see a 4-3-3. So I was like wondering, okay, fine, Jorginho back to the base of midfield with Havertz and Kovacic flanking him. And Kovacic was immense last night, miss. He was on par. He was on Jorginho's side on the defensive base every time. Yeah, he was there, and he was carrying the ball from defense to attack. And Kovacic played a very, very important part, to make sure that Jorginho was not getting singled out by 2 or 3 Sevilla players pressing him all together. And even if Jorginho was pressed last night, there was a sense of confidence among all the players. When Jorginho made that back pass, he knew that, okay, fine, Rudiger is going to clear it off, or Christensen is going to pass it to Azpilicueta, or they're going to pass it back to Mendy. There was an element of trust among that back line and Jorginho. This was something which was not there in the previous season. Because whenever we had Jorginho play in a 4-3-3 in the previous season, there was always an element of risk where, okay, if we win, if we lose the ball in this position, we are going to score. And Rudiger was also, taking up positions very close to Jorginho with Kovacic as well. So you have 2 players essentially protecting one against 3 of Sevilla. So whenever they pressed, Jorginho always had that outlet to make a pass. Okay, so Rudiger was covered, Christensen is open. And or if he felt that, he could make that one pass to Kovacic was always open. So this is again where, Frank's work in the training ground is seen. He is essentially covering up for his players' weaknesses, and this makes Jorginho look so good. And he hasn't put a foot wrong yesterday. He was very good yesterday. And credit to Frank and to Anthony Barry, to Jody Morris and all the coaching team. You can see that these guys are putting in a lot of work on the training pitch. This was not something which we saw last year, miss. And I would have had no doubts whatsoever that if Jorginho had played the same role last year, he would have been in no man's land. Rudiger and Christensen would have been in
destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kovacic probably would have been in the attacking half with Havertz normally taking up his attacking positions in the box. We lose the ball. Jorginho is the only person sitting over there, and this is again the improvement which we've seen this year. So yeah, credit to everybody involved over there.
Kamal, I think two players, obviously there's a lot of people behind the scenes like Anthony Barry, but obviously Thiago Silva didn't play here. I'm pretty sure we can all agree what an impact he's had for the whole squad. But Mendy, having Mendy in the back, I just feel like the centre backs are greater than 6 foot tall. The midfielders start having the chest out. Do you think that's also helping out other players individually? Their confidence levels are rising and they feel much secured with someone like Mendy at the back, and hence we are seeing better individual performances of other people as well. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, you could say they're all kind of interlinked. Specifically, the defense. We have to touch on it. They're kind of playing balls without even looking to Mendy. Whereas before with Kepa, they were like, okay, my eyes on you, Kepa, like don't mess this up. Like, they're playing balls blindly, and they clearly have so much faith in this man. Mendy hasn't. I'll be honest, Mendy hasn't really been tested that much yet. I mean, he's made some very good saves. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not critiquing Mendy at all. But he seems, like you said, he's brought an element of calmness to the whole team. No one's like looking nervous, making any shaky mistakes, any shaky passes. So yeah, if they're secure in the back, then maybe the likes of Hazard, Jorginho. I say Hazard. I meant Havertz and Jorginho and stuff like that. They don't really have to worry about
it for us.
Yeah, I know. Just can't get it out of my head. Players like that, they don't really have to worry about, okay, if I get caught in possession here, I know I've still got these guys to protect me at the back. Whereas before, they're probably double-minded about making certain passes or doing certain things, certain movements. So yeah, I definitely think Mendy and Thiago Silva, like you touched on, has just brought so much calmness, experience to this back line. And, as they say in American sports, defense wins championships as well. So our defense has been absolutely unreal this whole season, besides 2 anomaly games of West Brom and Southampton. 6 goals in those 2 games. That's an outlier. So besides those 2 games, our entire defense has been phenomenal. So the confidence is breeding throughout the team. It starts at the back.
No, perfect, man. You're right, man. Strong defense is the foundation of any winning, team out there, and we're showing that a lot. Before we go to the last question to wrap up this particular segment, which has been fantastic, got a question from Baggy TV. He's been dying to ask this question. Apparently, there's some rumors that Tomori has fallen out with Lampard. I'm not quite certain about this. I've heard previously from certain publications out there that there might have been some inside sort of issues, but I can't see it totally happening because they've played with, they played together in Derby a few seasons ago. Last season, Tomori featured as well. Vivek, any ideas about this at all, or is it just a matter of Tomori basically just too many numbers that we have in our squad at the moment? He's just a victim of that.
I personally feel he's a victim of the numbers, and I personally feel he is the victim of Zuma's renaissance, and he's the victim of Thiago Silva's signing. And no, you cannot blame Frank Lampard for not starting the same consistent lineup, and you cannot blame him if people are not happy in a Chelsea squad, because you have to remember that the club is looking for trophies, and there is no place for room for sentiments. There's no place or room for favoritism. We've already seen that with Frank. And I think the best move for both parties, in this case, Tomori and Frank, is for Tomori to move to a club, get some more minutes, and try to come back into the squad next year. Because like Kamal touched earlier on in the segment, that Christensen and Rudiger have very short contracts right now. And I don't think either of them will be signing an extension next year. This is just me speculating. I don't think they'll sign extensions next year, and I think Tomori will have a shot at the team next year. But I highly doubt he's fallen out with Frank Lampard. Because if that was the case, then because if that was the case, then Jorginho would have fallen out of favor with Frank Lampard, like God knows, 6 months back.
Like several times,
too much.
multiple times, he would have fallen.
Multiple times, yeah. With the recent one being, say, a month and a half back, where everybody expected him to go on loan, but he didn't. He stayed back, and he's pretty much started in a lot of games in the 4-2-3-1, and also like yesterday in the 4-3-3. So I don't think it's a matter of falling out of favor, miss. I think it's a matter of being the victim of circumstances right now.
No, fair enough. Kamal, let's wrap this up. Final couple of questions. One question for both of you guys to wrap this up. Kamal, how do you feel about moving into Leeds now? That game against Bielsa. Bielsa, for me, is a massive, massive tactician, man. I don't know how many Leeds games you've watched. I've actually watched a couple of Leeds games. And for me, everything they do seems to have a purpose. Every movement has a purpose. They don't just do things, just for the sake of it. Like, I feel like there's a pattern. They're doing something to unlock something. How do you feel moving into the game with the form that we have right now?
Sure, I'm confident. 100% confident. And as a Chelsea fan, through and through, this is a huge game. And I want Chelsea fans to understand how big of a game this is. This rivalry goes back into the 60s. And you see on Chelsea Twitter, there doesn't seem to be that kind of animosity that there is towards Tottenham and Arsenal and so on and so forth. No, this is huge. Specifically, Lampard and Bielsa, like you said, they go back from the Championship days, spying. Their fans hate us. We hate them. There's a big, context. Like, there's a big rivalry here. So, like you said, Leeds, if you used to see Leeds and how they play, and to a casual fan sees the lineup on the TV and their formations, they're probably thinking, what is this? 3-3-3-3. It's a confusing looking formation. But like you said, to a T, everything they do has a purpose to it. They are well drilled. They don't have superstar players, but each player knows their role and performs it well. So we can't be slacking. But I do think we have more than enough to overpower them. They have been phenomenal against the big teams, no doubt about it. But I do think, Lampard's going to be like, listen, this is one game we can't mess up on. And I know some people might not think it's a big deal, but those 2,000 fans we're going to have been in the stadium, there's going to be a slight difference to us anyway, at least. The first time fans are in the stadium since March. So, big deal. Hopefully they're allowed to scream and shout, because I read a report that they might not be able to be as obnoxious as they want to be. That's probably nonsense. But I read something that they're not going to be able to make as much noise, or it was probably nonsense, but I did read it and I kind of believe that. but that 2,000 fans, fully home fans, is going to be somewhat of make a little bit of difference as well. So Leeds, I can't emphasize how much we have to win this. This is must win. I don't want to draw must win game.
Vivek, is that how you feel as well, man? Must win. I mean, this rivalry, as Kamal is saying, this is legit. Like, I've seen Leeds fans when they got into the Premier League this season, they were the first thing they were sort of saying,
this is the game.
Yeah, this is the game against Frank Lampard, because they remember what happened, with Leeds and Derby and how Leeds missed out. And that affected them a lot, man. Because I watched the documentary. I'm not sure if you guys watched it. There's a really good documentary of Leeds.
I haven't watched it.
Watch it, man. It's really good. This one for Leeds. They were devastated when they didn't make it, and they got knocked out by Derby. And they hold that tight, man. They hold that deep. So this could be a bit of a grudge match. So do you feel the same way as men? Like, we need to go out there and win this?
Yeah, absolutely, Miss. I agree with Kamal as well. I share the sentiments too. It's a must-win game, and I'm excited to see fans back in Stamford Bridge, and I'm sure they're related too. And it will be a good win in front of them if we do. And all I want is for Mason Mount to score and do this celebration. That's the Spygate celebration. I hope you all know the Spygate. That was the Spygate. Yeah, that was the Spygate celebration which Mason pulled off in the championship playoffs. And I want him to do that after he scores against Leeds. So coming back, in all seriousness, Bielsa's teams are not to be taken lightly. And the Sevilla game, I feel personally it's a warm up to the Leeds game because Sevilla also plays circuit football, and Lopetegui is very similar to Bielsa in style of play. Not exactly the manager, but he's a little bit similar in how he sets up his team. Very organized. They are also very organized. They also have passing circuits, and they also have movements on the pitch. And I felt the Sevilla game was a good warm up for the Leeds game, and I'm sure Frank Lampard will win because he's going to have a very fit starting 11 going into the game, and I expect another clean sheet, and probably I'll be a little bit bold and say 5-0 in front of the fans.
5-0. Unbelievable score prediction from Vivek. Oh my God. The way he was sort of setting it up, I thought he was going to say 2-0, 5-0. Okay, kudos to you, man. One big point you did say there is that amount of players that have been rested in this particular game against Sevilla, they should be firing all in cylinders. And also these players, as Kamal stated earlier, they need to start looking at it as a competition because these boys just pumped 4 against Sevilla. And it'll be very tough on these players to be dropped against Leeds because a lot of them might probably get dropped. Well, not dropped, as in rotated out. And all those other players will come in. So, competition is absolutely skyrocketing, and it's good for us because it only means that these players are just going to go out there and buzzing. Maybe that 5-0, guys, write it down. If you want to be a betting man out there, 5-0 Leeds against Leeds. But guys, thank you so much to each and every one of you guys that have joined us throughout this session. Thank you heaps. Please smash that like button, subscribe if you're here new. And guys, thank you heaps for joining Kamal and Vivek. I'm really sad that Shyam couldn't make it. Hopefully he makes it next week. To everyone, please join in once a week right here. Brown Excellence, new segment where we talk about football, analyze a lot of things. Kamal, before we go, some final words before we depart.
Just thank you so much for having me on. It means a lot to me, as you know. This is something that I really respect and, have a lot of time for. So hopefully we get more traction and we keep this thing going, man. Let's get it.
Brilliant, man. Vivek, some final words, brother.
Nothing much, Miz. Just another win. Hopefully another win on Saturday. And it was so nice talking to Kamal, someone I've known on Twitter for a while. Thank you so much, man. And up Chelsea, and hopefully a win on Saturday as well.
Brilliant. Up the Chelsea, guys. Look out for more segments that's going to be coming throughout this week. I've got many other things lined up in this channel, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, guys. See ya.